Hey everyone, Nick from Mossy Creek with this week's fly fishing forecast. Today is Monday, November 17th. Hope everyone had an awesome weekend. We had some super warm, comfortable temperatures, some crazy wind, but it looks like we got less coming this week as far as the wind goes, and some really comfortable, awesome days for fishing. So let's jump right into it. We'll start with precipitation. Looks like we got a couple shots at rain this week. Nothing super high totals, but tomorrow there's like a 70% chance of quarter to a half in some places. And then later in the week, a few higher chances at some showers and some, rainstorms thrown in there. So if we can get, a couple of these shots throughout, the rest of this week and in the next couple of weeks, we can start to kind of chip our way out of the low water conditions. Brian talked about it, but we got a little bit the last few weeks that helped a lot, but we'll take anything we can get. So even though there's not a lot of rain coming, the weather pattern looks a lot more favorable for fishing this week. It was super cold last week, lots of really windy days, bright skies, no clouds, bright blue sunny days. There were days where fishing was super tough or conditions were really tough. This week looks a lot more favorable. We've got warmer temperatures. Tonight looks like the only night this week that gets down below freezing, low at 25 tonight, and then like upper 30s, low 40s the rest of the week. And nice warm temperatures midday, like 50s, 60s almost every day it looks. The thing I'm most excited about is looks like a good bit of cloud cover. So Tuesday, Thursday, both of those days look like it's almost like full overcast. And then almost every other day this week showed those chances of showers or some partly cloudy. When we have these low, clear conditions, cloud cover can make a huge difference. Even just this week, the difference between those days where we didn't have any cloud cover and then we had cloud cover come in, either a different day or later in the evening, the fishing drastically changed. When we're in low, clear conditions, those fish are really on edge. Fishermen, birds, otters, everything can just see them better. When it's bright and sunny and there's shadows and they can see every little sparkle, those fish can really be on edge. When you get a heavy overcast or some rain or something like that, those fish really get a little more comfortable, and a lot of times you'll find kind of more aggressive, more willing fish. So if you have the chance, pick some of those days where maybe we get a little bit of rain or some overcast this week. Could lead to some good fishing. But overall, like the whole week ahead, looks like a great time to get out there. So not a whole lot's changed on the mountain streams. Low water, leaf litter, brook trout are spawning. Not saying you can't go do it, but I think there's a lot of better options. For the most part, we've been laying off them lately, so I don't have a whole lot to say about that. Spring creeks have been fishing really well. The state has started to stock some places, so like South River, Back Creek, some different places got some stockings in the last couple of weeks. So a few of those streams are coming online and getting some fresh fish. And then you've got your spring creeks, Mossy, Beaver Creek, Spring Run, South River, our tailwaters, the Jackson, the Smith. Those are going to be your best places that hold good water even in kind of these lower periods. So fishing's been really good, especially those days where it was overcast. We had some awesome streamer fishing last week. Brown trout should be coming off some of the spawn on those spring creeks, coming off heavy and hungry, willing to chase down some flies. So it can be some really fun streamer fishing this time of year. And, we've had a little bit of dry fly fishing actually. Some of those overcast days last week, we had some blue wing olive hatches, some fish eating little bugs. So, really some pretty good fishing despite some of the lower conditions. One thing I've been doing this week that I was thinking about is during the summer and during, the late or early fall, when we still have our hoppers and our terrestrials around, we fish a lot of dry droppers, right? Whenever I can, if I think fish are going to be pretty opportunistic to big flies, when I fish a nymph, I love to use a big dry fly. This time of year, however, the chances of them kind of looking for hoppers and stuff really starts to fall. There's a few hoppers still around, but they're super dormant and slow, and those fish aren't thinking about that as much. So not saying you can't use it as an indicator, but it's not as big of a food source as it was a few weeks ago. And so instead of fishing a lot of dry droppers, I end up fishing a lot more indicator rigs this time of year. Just the lower chance that they're going to come up and eat the dry, I would rather kind of switch over and be able to adjust my nymphs a lot easier. Those cooler days, those sunny days where they're spooky, a couple inch difference in your depth can make all the difference. And so yarn indicators, small oros, any subtle little indicator, I use a lot for my nymph fishing this time of year just because I can adjust it so easily, and those tiny little adjustments can be a huge difference in your catch ratios. So not saying fish aren't eating dry flies, but they're eating more of our little blueing olives and midges and smaller bugs. If I see fish actively rising, I'm just gonna put on a little dry and cover that fish. I just don't spend as much time blind casting big dry flies hoping something's gonna happen. So hopefully that's a little trick that might help you in these lower conditions. And just that adjustability, being able to get that fly as close to those fish as possible so they can use as little energy as possible to eat it. So like I said, it's been good. Dry flies, nymphs, streamers, we've caught them all types of ways the last couple weeks, and that should only get better this week. On our bigger rivers, musky fishing's been really good. We've had some musky caught on fly, some musky lost on fly in the last few days. It's been really good fishing. A lot of our leaf litter is slowed down. Most of our trees have lost most of their leaves, so river's clearing up a little bit. Super low and clear can be tough, spooky conditions, but at the same time, you can have some opportunities to sight fish. It's a great time to get out on the bigger rivers and really kind of map out the river and see places that you wouldn't normally be able to see the bottom. Gives you a much better feel the rest of the year kind of for what you're fishing for. So as always, give us a call if you got any questions. Keep an eye on the Virginia trout stocking as they'll be adding some stuff. One thing I was going to mention actually, they did stock a couple lakes here. This is a really fun time of year to fish some of these lakes as well. Even in November, December, you can get out and find pods of fish eating little dry flies or fish structure and the bank with streamers. A lot of fun. If you haven't gotten to do it, if you have access to a little boat, a john boat, a kayak, something like that, it can really open up a lot of water and a new way to fish when we are more limited on options. So lots to do. Take advantage of some of those little tips just to help you out in the low, clear water and go explore and enjoy it. If we get some substantial rain this week, we'll keep you posted as always. Come in here, give us a call. We want to help you in any way we can. So thanks for watching. We'll see you next week and enjoy the fishing.